Hey, this is Ari, and in this video, I want to share a little clip from a recent podcast I did with my good buddy, Ben Pakulski, who is a former champion bodybuilder and a giant of a man. He was actually down here in Costa Rica recently staying in my guest house, and I had the pleasure of getting to know him, doing many walks together, spending a lot of time together. And he's just a wonderful, brilliant human being with so much wisdom to share on so many topics, particularly, of course, optimizing body composition, muscle gain, fat loss. But also, he's a very deep thinker and philosopher and has a lot of wisdom to share about life more broadly, and particularly around the value of self-discipline, which he has just mastered to a degree that probably is actually not probably, certainly is beyond pretty much anybody else I've ever met in my life. So wonderful podcast. Check out this clip, and also make sure to listen to the full length podcast down below. You can find the link for that in the description below this video. Enjoy.
I think you'll agree with my approach. Like, there's basically three things that every human needs as far as training, right? So you need some type of resistance training and strength training. So I kind of like categorize strength training and hypertrophy together. Hypertrophy being muscle building. We'll call that like one pillar, and the middle pillar, another pillar, will go mobility and stability, because as I age, I want to make sure that I have the ability to go through all the ranges I want to go through. So that's the spine, the pelvis and hips, the shoulders and scapula. The ankles. I want to make sure that I have a mobility practice. So I have a weight training practice, a resistance training practice, I have a mobility practice, and I have an aerobic fitness being the third pillar, right? So aerobic, cardiovascular fitness. And so all three of those, I think, are my kind of three pillars. And the way I think people should approach it, I believe you must include all three. And the proportions with which you choose to implement them is completely up to you. If you want to build a little bit of muscle or get a little bit stronger, well, then just turn up the dial on the strength training, right? If you want to improve your mobility, just turn up the dial on that. With the aerobic training, if you need to improve that, turn up the dial on that. So is there a minimum effective dose? Sure, but it depends on your goal, right? So for me, a minimum effective dose right now is weight training 3 to 4 times a week. I literally alternate days, right? So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes Sunday will be my resistance training days. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday will be yoga and some type of aerobic fitness, which for me is like riding my bike outside, going for a walk, going for a run, playing basketball with my kids, something that's like 45 minutes to an hour where I keep my heart rate elevated and I'm breaking a sweat. And if I find that one of them isn't feeling so good, I just simply dial it up. So I'm like, if I'm noticing my mobility is kind of not where I want it to be, I'll push out the 4 days a week and I'll add an extra one in. And it's really just this. So I found this nice balance of things that works for me. And as far as how hard I train, well, I've set some metrics for myself, and I'm like, hey, I always want to be able to do this. So when I'm 60, I still want to be able to squat this much, deadlift this much, do this many pull-ups, do this much bench press, like whatever. And it's nothing crazy. Like, I think if I can sustain that almost as my marker of health or my marker of strength and sustain it over time, maybe it decreases a little bit. It gives me a good gauge of how much muscle I'm actually losing every decade, right? So regardless of where someone is now, set a standard for yourself. Like, hey, this is how much I think is good for my body weight, or this is how much I think is good for my goals right now. And I'm going to sustain that. And I'm going to use that as my checkpoint. Like, as long as I can do this every year, or maybe I'm improving a little bit or sustaining, however you want to approach it, I think is a really good way to think about it. And with the mobility stuff, if something starts to hurt, I know it's a mobility problem, right? 99 times out of 100, if something starts to get hurt, it's like, oh, okay, something here isn't moving correctly. I want to do some mobility stuff. Now, I will asterisk that mobility is not the same as flexibility, right? It's not just stretching. So the audience out there, if you don't understand that, it's not just about passive stretching. It's also active mobility work. And I won't get into that unless you want me to, Ari, but it's important to know that there's a difference between active and passive mobility. And obviously the final one, aerobic fitness, is massive for cardiovascular health. It's massive for recovery between workouts, massive for nutrient disposal. So many benefits to each of those pillars.
Hey, this is Ari. I hope you enjoyed this video. And one more thing before you go. Actually, two more things. One is, if you enjoyed this particular little clip, the link to the full-length podcast is in the description down below. So make sure to check that out. Also, one more thing. Let me ask you a question. What if I could show you how to double your energy levels and dramatically improve your brain function, reducing your anxiety and depression to a degree on par with antidepressant drugs, but without the side effects. Sound pretty interesting? Well, there are, in fact, numerous compounds that can do this, that have been shown to do this. And I'll take you through just a few of these very briefly. One of them is rhodiola rosea. And this has been shown in studies, rhodiola rosea extract, in people with stress-related fatigue and exhaustion to cut their levels of fatigue and brain fog in half in less than a month. Just this one compound. There's another compound in my formula Energenesis called NT factor phospholipids that's been shown to help repair mitochondrial membranes and mitochondrial health to the level of healthy 29-year-olds, taking people with deteriorated mitochondria who are over the age of 65, restoring it to the level of healthy 29-year-olds. And that has been shown in numerous studies in various types of chronic fatigue, aging-associated chronic fatigue, obesity-related chronic fatigue syndrome, to increase energy levels by 30 to 45% in the span of 4 to 12 weeks, depending on the specific study. So dramatic improvements in a very, very short period of time. Two more compounds that are amazing, I highly recommend, that are in my formula Ultra Brain, along with rhodiola rosea. Saffron extract. This has been shown to increase levels of, improve your mood, I should say, and decrease levels of depression on par with fluoxetine, which is Prozac. And not only that, but with fewer side effects. It's much safer and much less likely to cause negative effects than antidepressant drugs are. Acetyl L-carnitine is another compound that's been shown to dramatically improve brain health in older adults. It also improve energy levels in older adults with chronic fatigue by between 40 to 50% in just the span of 2 to 4 months. And the last thing I'll mention here is acetyl L-carnitine has also been compared to antidepressant drugs and been shown, like saffron, to be as effective as antidepressant drugs in combating depression, but without the harmful side effects that so often occur with the drugs. So this is just a small sampling of the over 35 compounds that are in my formulas Energenesis and Ultra Brain that are all proven to dramatically improve energy levels, mitochondrial health, and brain health, and much, much more. And I highly recommend that you go check these out. If you're struggling with depression or anxiety or brain fog, if you're struggling with stress-related exhaustion and burnout, if you're struggling with chronic fatigue, go check out these formulas, give them a shot. I promise you are going to be blown away by the results. And like I said, the science has already proven that these things work. So you don't have to just take my word for it. There's lots of research to support that. And I'll even link to some of that research down below so you can verify everything that I just said for yourself. So the links to those studies will be in the description for this video down below. So check them out. Check out the formulas on theenergyblueprint.com. Again, Energenesis is the mitochondrial formula, and Ultra Brain is our brain formula. Check them out, try them out, and I think you're going to be blown away by the results. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you again soon.